Hi, it's Elise here at Bowman Library in our teen section with a whole new teen book spotlight. So it's the beginning of November, and that means it's the start of National Novel Writing Month, or NaNoWriMo. You might have heard of it before. If you haven't, the goal is for you to challenge yourself to write a certain number of words in the month of November with the hopes of that maybe spurring you to write a novel. So the 6 books we're going to take a look at today are books that actually got started in a NaNoWriMo year. And the author then continued the book and it got published. So we have 6 of those books today. So we're going to get started with one that most of you probably have heard of before. It is Cinder by Marissa Meyer. So living in the future, the people of New Beijing are always at risk of catching a disease called lunamosis, as well as being at war with a group of people known as lunars. Cinder is a human that is made partially of robot parts, so she's called a cyborg. And she is a mechanic who fixes equipment and robots and hovercrafts. Living with her stepmother and her 2 stepsisters, she's kind of looked down by her family and society because cyborgs are considered to be second-class citizens. They're really not given a thought and they're just there to serve other people. When Prince Kai needs her help, he has no idea who she really is or that she's actually a cyborg, but she agrees to help. But things kind of start going down the deep end when her stepsister contracts lunamosis. And the only thing her stepmother can think about is donating Cinder to be tested with experimental research to help find a cure for her stepsister. That's when secrets start to come out and everything starts to change for Cinder, putting her on both sides of a fight that is coming. This retelling of Cinderella will leave you looking at this story that you think you knew, but it's going to be in a completely different light. It's the first in a quartet. You will want to read the others if you like your fairy tales told through a science fiction steampunk lens. Cinder. Our next one, The Forest of Hands and Teeth by Carrie Ryan. So there are 2 types of people in Mary's world. Those that live inside the fence, like she does, and the ones they call the unconsecrated, the undead who are trying to eat the human flesh of people who are alive, and they live on the other side of the fence. So this fence is being served as a barrier to keep them out. When the fence is overrun one night and the village falls under attack, Mary is forced to flee with a group of people, including her fiance, her best friend, and her best friend's fiance, who Mary kind of secretly actually loves. The group decides they need to make their way to the ocean in order to find safety, but that means they have to travel for an unknown distance through the woods where the unconsecrated reside, leaving danger at every turn and choices that could change their lives forever. An edge of your seat zombie apocalypse horror run for your life adventure. There are 2 other books in this series, so if you enjoy this one, feel free to pick up the other 2. Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. Kath is entering her first year of college and things start to fall apart right from the start when her twin sister Ren informs her that she does not want to be Kath's roommate. So Ren tells her this and basically leaves her at the door. Kath prefers to spend her time locked away in her room and writing Simon Snow-inspired fan fiction instead of out partying with her sister and Kath's new roommate. But slowly, she starts to be pushed outside of her comfort zone by her annoying roommate, who slowly kind of starts to become her friend, as well as her roommate's ex-boyfriend, which kind of then starts to make things a little bit awkward. And Kath starts to find herself becoming a completely different person, but then she starts to realize it's going to be up to her to hold her family together. This incredibly realistic book is one that everyone can relate to at some point and will have you laughing, crying, cringing, and every other emotion in between. If you are a fan of the author Simon Snow books, you will love this one as well. Rampant by Diana Peter Frund. So in this world, unicorns are not like the animals we think they are. Instead, they are evil man-eating beasts who have enormous horns and razor-sharp teeth. The only people who can defeat them are girls who descend from Alexander the Great. 16-year-old Astrid does not believe any of this. Her mother's been telling her this all her life, that she is destined to be a unicorn hunter. Doesn't believe it, but then one night her boyfriend is killed in the woods by a unicorn. And the next day, Astrid finds herself on a plane to Rome to learn how to become a unicorn hunter. When she gets there, she finds herself being in a position she never thought possible, because in her scientific brain, none of this should be happening. But maybe there are things that are real, but they can't be proven. This mythological fantasy is filled with girl power, adventure fighting, and a touch of romance. Rampant. Oh, The Compound. This one's so good. By S.A. Bodine. 6 years before the start of her story, a nuclear attack took place, leading Eli and his family spending the past 6 years in an underground bunker that was built by his billionaire father. They have not been allowed to leave due to the air above ground being unbreathable because of this nuclear event. Well, things started out okay. Over time, the bunker has become more like a prison, and the food has started to spoil, and things start to kind of seem a little off, especially with his father, who starts getting a little more bizarre each day. Eli starts to question things that are taking place and cannot help but wonder if there is more going on than what he's been told. This psychological thriller has an ending that will leave you with your mouth hanging open. I promise you. You will sit there and you will get to the end and you will be like, did that honestly really just happen? The Compound. And our last one is Cruel by Jennifer Albin. In the world of Eris, time and reality are literally woven together by strings. But only certain people can see these invisible strings. And not only can they see them, but it's their job to manipulate them. And Annalise is one of those individuals. After keeping this a secret for 16 years, it's discovered, and then she is drugged and kidnapped and taken away to be what's called a spinster. These are the people that it's their job to see these threads and to weave for everyone living in the world. When she gets there and she starts her training, Annalise starts to discover that there is a lot of power held by spinsters in their guild, as they control the fate for every individual. And where there is power, there are secrets and corruption. There is a cliffhanger ending that will want you reading the next book as soon as you can in this science fiction series, Cruel. So these are just 6 books that got started by a NaNoWriMo challenge. Like, they started this book and it turned out to be like an actual printed book. So if you're interested in starting a NaNoWriMo challenge, feel free to come on by and we will help you get started with that challenge. I hope you tune back next week when we have a brand new teen book spotlight with a completely different theme with a new set of books. And I hope you have a great week.